All right, guys, welcome to our continuation of Docker. Today, we are going to be looking at the assignment that I gave you guys to perform. And the assignment was simple. You create a LAMP architecture. And what is a LAMP architecture? We remember that we explained that a LAMP architecture is an architecture that consists of the following characteristics. The software, the architecture should be built on a Linux system, which you already have a Linux system in your computer, and then the architecture should run on Apache, of which you have Apache Tomcat as your web server, and then the application should have a database which is MySQL database. So you had your MySQL database, and then the language for the architecture should be PHP.
PHP.
So that is the meaning of a LAMP architecture. So if they ask you to explain a LAMP architecture, you should be able to say that it is an architecture built on a Linux system, running an Apache web server, having a database which is comprised of MySQL, and is constructed with the language PHP. With that, you should have explained about your architecture. So in order to do that, what do we have to do? We need to run how many commands? We said in building this type of architecture, we always start from the database level. So we need to first of all build our database. MySQL database has to be installed. When you install MySQL database, the next thing you do is what? You install your web server, right? When you install your web server, then the last thing to do when installing your web server, you link your web server to MySQL, right? And then after you link your web server to MySQL, the next thing you do is you build your PHP. And when building your PHP now, you link your PHP to your MySQL and to okay good. All right, you link your PHP to your web server and your database. Cool. So that was the little assignment you guys had to do. Yes, Kiba.
Yes, when we were creating the database, we had a password. So I don't know what time can we use to enter into that our password, the environment variables. Then
when you want to the person who is going to be using the database is the database administrator, the person who is going to be creating databases. But you can enter using that particular environment variables, because if you want to enter the database, which command do you use in order to enter a container terminal? Do you know the command that you use in order to enter a container terminal?
We use the port.
Which command? I'm talking about the command. Which command do you run to be able to get access to your container, to enter inside your container? Like you guys said, you were inside, you successfully entered inside your container. So which command do you run in order to, if you like, you are standing outside a container, like in this case right now, I am standing here. I'm standing here. I want to enter a container. There is a container running. I want to enter that container. How will I enter that container? That is the question, right?
Yes, so, -it.
Yeah. -u root -p.
What the command, sir? Do you start by running -u? Is that what you're saying?
MySQL.
Do you start by running MySQL?
No, Docker run.
Yes.
Docker run MySQL -u.
Wrong.
Root -p.
Wrong. You are talking about passing the password to your database, Declan. Not running, not entering the container. You have to enter the container. This is what I was explaining last time, and I said, And I said that the steep of learning seems to be higher. So this is what I was explaining last time. I said when you go and practice it, you understand. You have your container here like this. This is your container. You are outside, right? In order to enter this container like this, you have the command called exec, right?
Exec, yes.
You have
Yes,
to
you told us.
exec into this container by running docker exec, right? And they give the container name it, right? You are going to enter inside this container, but inside this container there is
The password.
a database.
Okay.
There is a database, right? And now in order to have access into this database, you have to run now another command, where running now this command, you are going to pass those environmental variables that you are asking for. Is that okay? Have you
Yes,
have you ever seen that happening? Okay, let's try it. Let's do it and you
Yeah.
see. All right. We have let's start with running our database. This is our command for running our database. No, so we know this command. No, so
Yes, sir.
yes, we all know this command. The command is passing environmental variables with a password which is 1U,
You.
right? So we know this command. All of us know this command. So let us run the command. Response from daemon conflict with the container name mydb. So let me see, docker container ls, docker ps-a. Do I have a mydb container?
Yes, it's there, sir.
I have a mydb container. So docker rm
-f my DB.
I always like to copy the
ID.
ID. Okay, docker ps iphone, make sure that it is off. Okay, it is no more existing. So let us run our command again. Okay, it shows that our command is running. Because you can see the ID of our image downloaded.
So I think the image is already the container. If we run docker container ls, we will see this container.
The container has been run now. That is it
I
there.
think yes, sir.
It has run
Okay,
successfully.
Yes. Okay.
So now we run docker container ls. So that is the MySQL container, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
you ask a question. When do we use the environmental variables? This is what we have right now. We have this container, Not so. We have this big massive container here like this. Okay, this one. We have installed this thing here like that. Okay, now we want to enter inside. So which command should we run? I gave you a particular command that in order to enter a container, you run, this is it, docker exec. In an interview question, what they want to hear from you is exec. The language that is used in the IT industry is exec. When they say what is the command to enter a container, and you say docker exec, that's all. They don't want to hear any other thing. That's fine. You can say docker exec blah 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 blah, but I want to explain to you the full meaning of docker exec. Now, when you run docker exec, you are saying that I want to enter a container. I want to exec into the container. That is the verb that is used. I want to exec into the container and be in the interactive mood. That means I want to interact with the container. That is interactive. I want to talk and get response with the container. Okay? So you are entering inside the container. What is your aim of entering inside the container? You want to talk and get answers from the container. That is the essence of getting into the... No, you guys are not getting me. You guys are not getting me. Okay, you cannot get me from my screen. Okay, let me try to see. It's showing that I stopped sharing. Okay, let me try to see. It's like my screen had my Edge browser got frozen, if I'm not sure. Yeah, my connection to my Edge browser got frozen. Just give me a moment, let me restore it. For how long has that been happening? I'm seeing that I lost my connection to the host machine. Am I back?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, where were we? We were trying to run, we had run this container, right? So I was trying to explain I was trying to explain this. Now we have docker run. I want you to understand this command very well. We have docker run, docker exec. What are you doing? You want to exec into the container. Okay, you want to enter into the container. That's what you are struggling to do. You want to enter into the container. Okay, and then when you will enter into the container, what do you want to do with the container? You want to talk and receive information from the container. I want to be talking and receiving information from the container. That means I want to communicate with the container. That's the meaning of interactive mode. Okay, and then this is the container name that you want to enter into. And which language are you going to be talking to this container? Okay, that bash, you know about bash scripting, right? Bash is the language that you are going to be talking with the container. That is the language. It's a shell language, right? That you are going to a Linux based shell language that you are going to be using to talk with that container. Because without bash, there is no way you can talk with the container. Okay, so you are going to be talking with the container with the language bash. Okay, that's the full meaning of this command here. So let us run the command and make sure that the container name was mydb. So let us run the command. This command says that I want to enter into a container. Now, are you seeing that I am inside the container now? Being inside the container, it is possible to run my bash commands here now. Okay, I am now from my terminal. I am inside this container. At this particular position, I have entered from here and I am found now here. This is where I am now, right? I've already entered and here I am now. Mr. Kiba, you are asking, when do we use those environmental variables that we set? Here is a position where we have to use now those environmental variables to enter now inside our database. Okay, now that in that case we need a command. What is the command that we are going to use? Look at this command. What is the name of our database? MySQL, right? -u root -p, right? Now when you talk about -p, then you give it will ask you for your password. Okay. This one will ask you your password. Now what are we entering into the container as root, right? Why are we entering as root? Because in our user creation we created the user as root. It is a very bad thing to be entering a container as root, because when you have three database engineers, right, and each database engineer has to have an account to enter, you have to give them a special user name. Okay, so that when you are passing now to enter there, you use your username, not the root user. The root user has all the power. Okay, now here we are using the root user. So when we run this user, they will ask us for a password to enter that database, right? Are you seeing? They are asking us now, what is the password that you want to enter this place? Now I provide the password. I've already written the password. This goes to Adija. When writing password, nothing shows. That is the meaning of being password. You will type the password and nothing will show. So I enter. Are you seeing where I am now? I am now in the MySQL database.
Okay.
I'm now in the MySQL database. Here now I can run MySQL query command. MySQL understands, but the language we call query languages. You can run select, you can create tables, you can do anything. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Here the database engineer will be running query languages here. Okay, your own is to set the environment for him to work. When you set the environment, he can now work, but you should know at least how to run 1 or 2 or 3 commands to test that the database is fully functional, so that when you set the database, you can say that I've successfully set the database and I tested it and it was functional. I created one table before I left. At least you should be that type of a person that goes to somewhere. You can be a mechanic, but you are not a driver. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true, sir.
You can be a mechanic, but you are not
Yes.
a driver. So you arrange the steering wheel and arrange the accelerator and the tractor and everything. At least you should know at least how to enter, start the key and accelerate to see that those things that you arrange are actually working. Not so. You should
Yes,
you should have the concept in your head, because here we are the engineers setting everything, but we are not the drivers. You can be arranging those Amomins 70 seaters. You are arranging them very well and they are functioning very well, but you cannot drive one from Yaoundé to Douala. That is the concept, right?
yes, sir.
Yes, Declan.
What if you want to, you are setting your database and you want to enable other engineers to have access to it, and then you are not using your root command there. What other command? What's the command you need to use there?
You replace, but before doing that, you must have created their username. You create their username and password.
Okay.
In databases, you create a username and a password. So in this very particular database, you can still create another user. That's you just come now.
Okay.
You just come now,
Okay.
and you run MySQL, right? Then you replace this guy here. You are not running now as a root user. If you come to the database documentation, you will see how to create a different user apart from a root user. You actually have a username. You pass a username and then you pass a password. That's how it is being created. You pass a username and you pass a password to it.
That is to say, you give a particular username here and a password that can be accessible by any of them.
No, each and every one has a username and a password to himself.
Okay.
Each and every one has his username and his password. These are what we call secrets. These things like this should never be demonstrated like this. We are using -link. -link is an archaic way of doing things. Actually, what I actually wanted us to do today was
Docker Compose.
You see, -link is actually archaic. What we normally use today is Docker Compose. Okay, and most often Docker Compose is already being obsolete. Most people are always now using Kubernetes. Okay,
sir.
yes. So what we are to do today, this one was to correct your assignment, because I was receiving a lot of trouble. Okay, I want to leave my database. Are you seeing where I'm living from? I want to first of all leave from my database. I'm leaving like this. I'm leaving from my database outside. That's the first thing, right?
Yes.
So I press exit. I have left from my database. Now I am where? In my bash. That means now I am here, right? Now I want to leave from here back to here. And if I leave from here back to here with exit, then I am going to shut down this container. Is that true?
Remember. Very true. Yes.
If I leave from here to here with exit, I'm going to shut down this container. So in order to leave from here to here without shutting down this container, I have to use what?
Control P cure.
Control
P cure.
Control P cure. Exactly. So I press Control P cure. Now I have left, right? And then I run docker container ls. I see that my container is still there, right? It's still there and it is still running. What is the next thing now that I have to do? I have to run the next command that will link what? It has to
Web server.
it has to link my web server now to my DB, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Let us see the command that links our web server to our DB. Let us use the LAMP architecture directly. Okay. This is the command now that will link our web server directly to our database. What is linking? The name we are installing is what? Tommy, right? That is a Tomcat, right? It's a particular image of Tomcat. A particular image. There are several different images of Tomcat posted by different people in the Docker Hub. Okay, so we are going with Tommy. It's an image, and the name we are going to give to that container is Apache. I hope we still understand the meaning of the name of the image and the name of the container. This is the image that we are pulling from Docker Hub, and when we pull that image, we are going to install the image. But when we install the image, we are going to have a container, and we are going to name the container Apache. That is the meaning of this container, of this command, right? And we are going to expose that image on port 6060, right? That is what we are doing. So we run this, and we are linking the image to our database. And we are giving the image link as the image link name MySQL. That is the name we are giving to this link. MySQL is a link that we are linking to MySQL. Okay, good. Now we run. Unable to find image locally, so it will pull the image directly from Docker Hub. Yes, Declan.
So I did not get something quite clear. When you are like you don't want to use the root user, and to enable other engineers have access to the database, are you to give access while already at MySQL, while already at the database, or while still setting up?
Declan, that question you can answer it logically. The question I wanted you to ask is, sir, what if we have created a database and then we have employed a new database engineer? How are we going to give him access to our database?
Okay.
That is the way you should have asked that question, right?
Yes, sir.
Which answers your first question of saying that you must not give the username and password of everybody while creating the database. You can give after you must have created the database, which means after the database has been run and created with root users, you can use another root user, enter into the database and run commands creating other users.
Okay. I guess it.
Is that comfortable?
Yes, sir.
You use now that root user. While we were in that database like that, we could create another user.
Okay.
Okay,
Inside
sir.
the database.
Inside the database, we could create now another user by giving a username and a user password.
But not as root.
Not a root again.
Using the same command.
Yeah, using the same command, we could create another user.
Okay, I understand, sir.
You could create. You can create multiple users. If you get a new DB, a new DBA comes to the company, and we need to give him access to the database so that he should be running commands, right?
Yes, sir.
There we have to create his username and create his password.
Okay.
And give it to him. So, right? Yes, Kiba.
Hi, sir. I want to go back to the command we just ran. You made a -p6060. You gave a port to our web server.
I gave a port to our web server. Yes, our Tomcat.
We did investigate. We did our research, and we came to know that PHP does not have a particular port, sir. It adapts to the port of the web server. I don't know if this was true.
What is P? First of all, the question you should be asking yourself is always ask yourself this question: what is PHP? That's the first thing. That's where you should start from. What is PHP?
We ask, sir. It's a language.
It's a language.
Yes, sir.
Of course. If PHP is a language, do you know the meaning of a language in software engineering?
No, sir.
That is where the question should have started from. You get it? That is, I'm trying to answer your questions by not superficially, by dipping into the underground so that you should understand exactly what you are trying to do. PHP is a language like Python, a language like Java. It is a language which is used in writing applications on the internet, web application. So that language, this is where PHP is found, please. This is where PHP is found. Okay, we have our database. This is our database, right? Yes. Then we have PHP. Then we have our browser, our web server. This is how we are doing, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the structure. So what is happening here? The logic of your software. When I say the logic, that means the program that is actually the engine of your application resides here. The engine of your application resides here. This is the engine of your application. This is where the if and this. When this occurs, then do this. But if this does not occur, do that. This is where all that logic is occurring. You get it?
Yes, sir.
This is the program written by programmers. Programmers write this thing. They write it in a language called PHP, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good. When this language is written in PHP, why should PHP have a particular port? So PHP now will have to communicate with the browser, which has a particular port that was created in it.
By default?
By default. This container comes, this browser container comes with a port by default.
We are getting you now, sir. Yes.
This one comes with a container by default. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the default container, this architecture is not complete. Let me complete this architecture. Now, this is your database. Okay. This is your PHP, right?
Yes, sir.
This is your application, browser, right?
Yes, sir.
This is your computer. Is that true?
Yes, that's true, sir.
Okay. Here is the computer. Networking is one of the greatest things that if you master, you are the king. software, let's call it application. No, this is not the application. This is the
web
server.
server. Yeah, the server, sir.
Then this is the application, and then this is the database. This is how the situation works, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here this database by default has its own port. By default, you cannot, this database comes with its port, which is the port that is available in Docker Hub. If you come to Docker Hub, let me show you how to get most of these things, please. It's very important. I think I have browser issues. Okay, if we come to Docker Hub and we ask for, am I still online?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we ask for MySQL, and we give the version. Our version was what?
5.
Our version
5,
was
yeah.
5. We are searching for MySQL version 5. Okay. All right. Let us see MySQL version 5. I put the right thing. Search for MySQL. All right, let's just take version 5.7, right? Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you come to MySQL, you want to know more. You definitely want to know more about the application, right? You want to know whether this application like this, who makes it, what is the characteristics and everything. Okay. So we have to go to the application itself. Now look at something here. This is it language is bin / shell, right? That is the bash language that we were talking about. That is the language which you have to enter into. So the question you would have asked me is, please sir, how do we know which language a container understands? You will come and verify from here. What is the language that this container understands? Okay, and then you come down here, and then you have to check, like somebody was asking, so how do we know the environmental variables to use for this particular container? Here is the environmental variables, right? You run environmental MySQL, that, right? This is the environmental variables. So you have all the necessary commands that you can ever have here. The command is exposed, the container is exposed at 3306. That is its original port where it is exposed. Okay, so you get every information about that container. This is how you can mount a volume to that particular container. We'll come to Docker volumes. All right, so you get every information about this particular container here. Okay, every command that you want to get, you get it here. So when you go looking for containers, you know exactly how to find information relating to those containers. But if I run just MySQL and I get MySQL, this is the MySQL general command without precising which particular version. right? It even gives you the hyphen commands to run directly. Okay, tells you about its volume, and then comes down and tells you about its environmental variables. These are its environmental variables. It will give it to you, right? Give you the environmental variables in as many variety as you want. How to pass its secret, it give it to you. You read this documentation, you know exactly everything about the containers. Okay, you know everything about the containers. So coming back to your question, is my PHP having a particular port? No, PHP does not have a particular port because it is an application. You are the one that builds that application, and you are the one that gives the application the ability to read ports. PHP is a software that you build. Like you ask, is Java having a port? How can Java be having a port? Java is just a software that you are going to use in order to build your application. So while building that application, you are going to give your application a port that you want, right? So when you give the application the port, so this one is having a database port that you are going to respect while building this application, and then this one is having its own port that you are going to also respect. But when you respect the port of this one, there is something you are going to do. You are going to do a what we call mapping, right? You are going to map this one to this one here, and then you are going to give now what we call a node port. That what you call mapping is giving what they call node port, and node port now is the port that your computer is going to use in order to access this application. This application is inside your computer, so you have to open a port inside your computer so that you can see it. So you map now the port. Let's say this one was running on port 8080. It is running on port 8080 from behind. So you have to map this port 8080 to a port like 3360, and then this port now will be accessible through this computer with 3360. You see the idea? This is port mapping. This one maps to this, which will be open now to your computer. Your computer is what now sees all these things. Okay, so there is an interconnection. If you understand very well the interconnection between from database to application to web server and to your computer, that is a browser now, you would understand really how the network flows. So yes, the application does not have a port. You build the application, so you give the application a port. Okay,
sir.
Now we have installed our application and we have linked our application. Can we exec into our what application? Apache application. We can exec into our Apache application, right? Using the command docker exec, but this time we give our application name, which is Apache, right? We run docker exec -it Apache bash, right? You see where we are now. We are in our Tommy application. Being inside our Tommy application, what are we struggling to do? We know that from our Tommy application, we should be able to see our database. How do we know that it is true that we are able to see our database? We run ping. We are pinging what? We are pinging my DB, right? We are running ping my DB. Please. What is our ping command? Am I making a mistake with my ping command? We have to run ping container name, right? So it should be ping. Our container name is what was our container name? MySQL, right? No, Apache. Is that no? Okay, let's run. Now we are already inside the terminal. That is where you have to always be very careful. Our container name is mydb, right? This is it, mydb, and that is what I have written there. So why am I unable to ping mydb? I am unable to ping mydb. Okay. Now there is this idea that I will have to tell you. There are times in which your ping might not work. The reason why your ping might not work is because some softwares are not Linux based softwares. For example, you have your PHP. It's not a Linux software. So because it is not a Linux software, you cannot run ping. Okay, because this particular software is not a Linux software, it is difficult. You are unable to run ping. So if you are unable to run ping, how will you know that your containers are actually pinged? Okay, come up, let us see how to ping, how to know that your containers are actually together. Let's look for the command. There's this command that I wrote here. Okay, this is a command, docker inspect. So I am inspecting my DB. If I have to inspect my DB, docker inspect my DB is not found. Docker inspect no my PHP, please. Docker inspect Apache. Did you put Apache?
So we have not yet established PHP.
Okay, we have linked the Tomcat.
So yeah, Tomcat to database.
Okay, all right, I get it. But our Tomcat name is PHP. Yes. Okay, let us establish the link to Tomcat now. Is okay. Control pcure. And then we run docker container ls. Our containers are there, the two of them. So let us run now PHP, which is our last container to run. That is our command. This is the command that you people were searching for, right?
Yes, sir.
Linking two things. Now this is the command, docker run --name PHP. You are linking Apache to Tomcat, right? You are linking Apache to Tomcat, and then you are linking again to MyDB. right? So we are installing PHP, and we are linking PHP to our Apache. Not so. This is where
In
this
a detached mode, sir.
yes.
Okay.
It is just going to run in the detached mode, not that we are linking in the detached mode.
Okay.
So we are linking PHP to Apache, and the name of that link is Tomcat. And at the same time, we are linking PHP to MyDB, and the name of that link is MySQL. Okay, and then we are installing PHP. All right, so that is the command that you are searching for. So right now, this is the architecture we have created. This is the architecture we have created. We have created a threefold architecture. We have our database up here, and then we have our server down here, and then we have our application down here, right? And then this is how we have linked. We have linked like this, and then link like this. So all of them are totally linked all together. Everybody is talking to everybody. So when you finish doing this, then you have set up a LAMP architecture. Question: when, always remember to ask these questions. If I'm forgetting to explain certain things, please be rational. Question: where can you be asked in real life to set up a LAMP architecture? When can you be asked in real life to set up a LAMP architecture? How do you use a LAMP architecture? Those are the fundamental questions that you should be asking, right? In the industry, where do we use the LAMP architecture? Answer is, nobody will ever ask you to set up a LAMP architecture. Everything occurs in a LAMP architecture. Everything occurs. You will never have any task that go and set up a LAMP architecture. No way. They will just simply ask you in an interview whether you understand the meaning of a LAMP architecture. But in real life, everything occurs as a LAMP architecture. Okay? Nobody will ever ask you that, go set me up a LAMP architecture. No. But you should be capable of explaining what a LAMP architecture is all about. Because everything here is in LAMP. Okay? But it will never always be in the way it is. So we have finally set up our total LAMP architecture. And if we run docker ls, docker container ls, the other container is still being set up. We have one container that is not there, which is that container, docker
PHP.
container, docker container, yes.
Okay.
PHP is there, right?
It's there now, sir.
We have PHP, we have MyTommy, and we have MySQL, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
if we look at it very well, come and look at what is happening here and understand. Look at, we have a particular container here, right? That is exposing port 3277. This is a link. Are you seeing? We have a 127 container 001, 127 container 001. That means this particular container like this is having a link. Now let's come up here and see the ones that we have created. We are having a container that is linking us from the internet to the port, from the port 8080, taking from the internet. This is the idea. You take from the internet, you pass through port 6060, and then you enter port 8080. Are you seeing? Take from the internet, pass through port 6060, and enter port 8080. That means from the internet, what are we going to be writing? Port 6060. And then going to where? 8080, right? And when it will be going to 8080, where will it be going? Now I have I don't know why my system is refusing to elongate. Okay, let's make it big. Okay, now I have the TCP port open. That means if I go to my browser and I run port 6060, I am going to see something, right? Tomcat will be there, but we know Tomcat, you can't access it that easy. So let us run our local host and see what happens to us. Local host hyphen, what is our port? 6060. You see, we are in Tomcat, right? So you see that this port 6060 takes us directly to Tomcat directly. So somebody might ask the question, why am I using Tommy and not the official Tomcat image? The official Tomcat image, you will not be able to see Tomcat because the official Tomcat image is made in such a way that the host does not have access to Tomcat directly. So somebody has taken that Tomcat image and rearranged it in such a way that the host has access to the Tomcat server directly, and then call the name Tommy and put it in Docker Hub. You get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are entering through our Tomcat at port 6060, and then we are going to port 8080, and then we get to our application. Okay. So that is the LAMP architecture for you. That is all about the LAMP architecture. So from this architecture, what I want you to try is create a CI/CD architecture. Okay. Create a CI/CD architecture. What is a CI/CD architecture? Do you remember how a CI/CD architecture used to look like? A CI/CD architecture is how many computers?
It's 3, sir.
A CI/CD architecture is 3 computers, right? We have 3 computers with respect to the CI/CD architecture. We have the dev instance, we have the QA instance, and we have the
production instance.
The production instance, right? And when we created this instance, what did we do? We linked the dev instance to the QA instance and linked the dev instance to the production instance, right? Remember that it is not dev to QA, QA to prod. No, dev to QA, dev to prod. Okay. And inside the dev instance, what did we have there? We had a Jenkins installed, right? And inside the QA instance, what did we have there? We had a Tomcat installed, and here we had a Tomcat installed, because the activities that take place in the same scenario that occurs in the QA instance is the same scenario that is going to the production instance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, which means that what you are going to do is you are going to pull a Jenkins image and install it. That's the first thing you are going to do. Pull a Jenkins image and install it. And then from a Jenkins image that you have installed, you are going to pull a Tomcat image. While installing a Tomcat image, you are going to link it to the Jenkins image, the Jenkins container. Okay.
Okay, sir.
While installing the Tomcat image, you are going to link it to the Jenkins container, and then you pull again another Tomcat image. This one, while installing it, you are going to give a different name. Not so, you will not give the same name like this one. You are going to give a different name. And when you give a different name, you are going to give a different port. Okay, 2 Tomcats containers, 2 different names, 2 different ports at the level of the node port. Do you understand that philosophy? This one is removing, let's say this one is removing port 6060. That's the port that I mapped to 8080, right? The container comes with port 8080, so I've mapped it to port 6060. That's the node port that will be coming out. This one is relating port 8080, but I mapped to port 5050. That is the meaning of mapping with different ports, right? That means when I will run my local host, the first thing I will see is I'll run 6060, I'll get back to this container. But if I run my local host and I put 5050, I get back to this container. You get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So that is your assignment for today. And when you do that assignment and finish, I believe that tomorrow we can start our Docker Compose without any problem. Okay, and then when you finish, install Docker Compose in your computers, please. The command to install Docker Compose. Here's the command to install Docker Compose in your computer. You run I look for a command to install Docker Compose in your computer. What was that command? This is a command to install Docker Compose in your computer. Sudo apt install Docker Compose. You run that command, Docker Compose will get installed into your computer. When you finish, to know whether Docker Compose is installed in your computer, you run Docker Compose -- version. Yes, your question. Declan, you were to ask a question.
Yes, sir. As concerns Tomcat and the assignment, we are to assign different port numbers to our different Tomcats.
Yes.
Are we to, because there's a command here, the capital P, are we to ask for a default port number, or we have to assign a particular port number?
When I say give a particular port number, it just means that the 2 port numbers should not be the same.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand the meaning of hyphen capital P?
That the system should generate a port.
A port, yes, sir.
The system should generate a random port, right?
For us,
random port, yes, sir.
Which means you have to go and verify which port that system actually generated.
Has given us.
But why can you not just give your own port that you know?
Yes, I was asking that question in respect to the command to use.
So while running your Tomcat, please pull the Tomcat server to me, not the Tomcat one.
Okay, sir.
So that you should be able to access it on your browser.
Okay.
Pull the web server to me. So you install Tomcat with a different name, and then with 2 different names and 2 different ports, and link all the 2 to Jenkins.
Okay, sir.
Is that correct? When you link it, you can access your Jenkins server and even perform your CI/CDs. It's possible for you to link and perform your CI/CD without any problem. Yes. So, with that, any other question? Is Adija in this class?
Yes, sir, I am.
Adija, silence is not following. That is my experience with learning. When I don't understand anything, I cannot ask any question. But when you hear these guys firing all these questions, it's because they are struggling to get something. Are you that blind?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you that still blank? Do you understand? Are you understanding everything that is happening?
I'm understanding, sir, but I'm clearly issues with Docker.
You are.
I'm understanding, sir, but the issue is that I'm still having problem with Docker.
Adisha has not yet installed her Docker. What is the problem, guys? You could not help her.
So the issue is that it's not running in my laptop, so I don't understand. I downloaded it, but it's not running.
Docker is not running in your laptop.
Yes, sir. It does not accept to open.
Why should Docker refuse to run in your laptop when you have a recent system? Yes, Mr. Kiba.
Yes, hi, sir. Actually, the problem was the timing. I had to assist her the best way that I can, but our timing did not match. You know, I'm 3 hours ahead, so we missed out. Last time we didn't get each other
No, but
properly, so
if you are the one giving the help, Adija should be the one adapting. That is how it works in nature, right?
yes, sir, he had
Yes,
to
sir.
adapt it. Mhm.
Yes, sir. The issue is that he actually gave me the time, so it's like my network was shaking. I didn't actually get him. So the time I came, no, it was the time that he was busy, so I didn't really get the time he told me. So the problem was actually after.
And then after you missed out that one, what happened now? What was the way forward now? You just state that you cannot still install it. Adija, you should always be asking. You should have asked him the next question. When can we redo this? Hmm? You missed the first appointment that he gave you. The next thing should be, now we have missed this appointment. When can we again have another one?
Yes, sir. We missed the first appointment, so we had to do the next appointment yesterday evening, sir. So I tried to write to him. It's like he was not online, sir. So I didn't know how
You
I
are
can
telling me that you are
continue.
still to book another appointment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, what the Bible says, keep knocking and one day the door will be open for you.
No, we'll do it, sir. The problem is the timing difference, sir, but we'll do it.
Yes, guys, try by all possible way and see what is happening to Adija's system. Let her install. But Adija, you don't even need Docker. You don't need Docker. You need to install WLS. You don't need Docker. Just
Okay, sir.
just follow that commands of installing WLS. I will give the script. Here is the script. I think I have a script for that command. The command of installing that system
WS in Ubuntu.
in Ubuntu. Yes, I will just send you guys a command. Follow the command, and I believe you will be able to install your Docker without any problem. Just follow the commands.
Okay, sir.
Yes, you don't need a desktop Docker. Do you already have Ubuntu installed in your
Yes,
system?
sir. Yes, I already have Ubuntu installed in my system.
Okay, I will look for that command to install WLS. I think this command will install it for you. Yes, this command will install it for you.
Okay, sir.
So I'll send this command all to you guys there. You are going to use this command, and you install the system. It will work.
Okay, sir.
So you will not need again Docker.
Docker desktop.
You will not need Docker desktop again to do that. You will not need Docker desktop. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah, I'll send it. Okay, let me just. I forget a lot. Let me just send the whole command. Yes, Declan.
As concerns the curl commands, I would just like you to explain the specificities of the curl commands, the installation commands. I'd just like to know.
Now let's go through the commands. Now the first command that you are going to run is this command. You are going to update your system, right? One, you are going to run sudo apt update, right? When you update and then after it has finished updating, the second command that you are going to run is you are going to upgrade, right? I was saying that when you run sudo apt update, after you run sudo apt upgrade, you know the meaning of these two, right? When you are updating your software. When you are upgrading your system, right? Now, the second command, I have named them. After you run these two commands, you copy this one, you run. You copy this one, you run. Then the third command that you are going to copy and run is this one. This command will remove any Docker engine that is found in your system. If there is no Docker engine found in your system, the command will say that no Docker engine found in your system, right? The next command to run is this one. After you have removed everything, you still run again update, apt-get update, right? Yes. This one removes every Docker container. After you remove it, you upgrade again your system. Okay. Now, I have named everything that is happening here. Here we are installing the prerequisites of the software for Docker to be installed in your WLS, right? So as I was explaining, installing prerequisites, you just copy this command like this and install and run. Okay, this command will install all the various certificates to accommodate Docker. Okay, this one installs every certificate to accommodate Docker. Then you are talking about the curl command. This curl command is just simply downloading Docker now, right? We'll just download Docker and then it runs, and then it gives the additional keys to it. That's what the curl command does. Curl just picks it picks a particular file from the internet. You either use curl or you use wget. There is curl, there is wget. These are all utilities that we use in the Linux operating system. Okay, then we have you add these repositories. These are repositories that Docker is going to use. All right, you simply add this repository, just copy this command and you run. That's all. Then the next thing, now you update. After you must have finished all these things, you update and then you upgrade again, right? When you finish updating and upgrading, now you run now sudo apt install docker c. This is now the Docker that is being installed now into your operating system, right? When Docker install into your operating system, it will create a group. You have to do that sudo group add, run the command, it will run. Then this one, you have to change your user mode of Docker, right? So that everybody can use Docker. So you put the new grep Docker. It will be available at all ports. Then you start the Docker service. So run all these commands in order. When you run them in order, you will get Docker into your system.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Is it the one you have sent to the group, sir?
I'm about to send. I've not yet sent.
Okay.
I'm still naming the various commands that you are going to run.
So shall we form a bin batch or we run it like Mr. Declan?
Don't, no. Please run it step by step. Don't form a script.
Okay, sir. Declan run it immediately.
I just did go now.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So there are altogether 13 different commands you need to run. So run these commands independently.
Okay, sir.
I term it Docker for Windows service for Linux. So All right, I sent to you guys. All right, cool. So you install you work with Adija and try to see if you can install Docker in her system, and then you build the CI/CD system, and then we meet tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay, sir.
all right. Goodbye to everybody.